My heart is broken. Ozzy is gone. I lost my husband, my soulmate, my wild, beautiful best friend.
The news of Ozzy Osbourne's passing has undeniably shaken the music world. A figure known for more than 5 decades for his distinctive vocals, eccentric lifestyle, and iconic stage persona has now become a memory. Through a brief yet heartbreaking announcement on his official Instagram account, the world was stunned. With sadness beyond words, began the post that marked the end of an era. Within moments, thousands of heartfelt tributes and condolences flooded the comments, from devoted fans to global musicians who hailed Ozzy as a role model and inspiration. Ozzy Osbourne spent his final moments surrounded by family, passing peacefully at home. His wife, Sharon Osbourne, who stood by him for decades as both life partner and career manager, is reportedly deeply devastated. Along with their 4 children, the family is now navigating this mourning period with cautious privacy. Their request for solitude is a testament to their desire to preserve the sanctity of farewell, mirroring the legend's final journey, one that ends not in roaring applause but in quiet love. Ozzy's death came just weeks after his final performance with Black Sabbath during their reunion concert, The Final Call, held in his hometown of Birmingham, England. The concert at Villa Park on July 5, 2025, was an emotional curtain call to Black Sabbath's storied legacy. Though seated due to worsening Parkinson's complications, Ozzy gave his all. He delivered 5 iconic tracks with soul and intensity, proving that the spirit of rock and roll lives on, even as the body begins to falter. That reunion became a rare and unforgettable moment. For the first time in 2 decades, the original lineup, Ozzy, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, shared a stage once again. Cheers from the crowd mixed with tears as Ozzy sang the opening note, with the stadium collectively aware that they were witnessing a moment in music history. Though his body had changed, his voice still echoed with the strength to move and stir everyone present. Ozzy Osbourne was never just a vocalist. He was a symbol of artistic freedom, rebellion against norms, and the courage to be unapologetically himself. From his early days with Black Sabbath in the late 60s to a massively successful solo career through the 80s and 90s, Ozzy reshaped metal music into something darker, deeper, and emotionally raw. Tracks like Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, and No More Tears became anthems for generations, navigating inner chaos and identity. Yet behind the Prince of Darkness persona was a man with a turbulent, deeply human journey. Ozzy battled addiction, mental health issues, and debilitating illnesses, including Parkinson's and severe infections that required multiple surgeries. In recent interviews, Ozzy reflected more solemnly, speaking of death, family, and legacy. "I just want to be remembered as someone who loved music and gave everything on stage," he told Rolling Stone in early 2025. The world responded to Ozzy's death with an overwhelming wave of grief and honor. Global landmarks lit up in black and purple as tribute. Rock radio stations played his music non-stop. Fellow artists from Metallica to Billie Eilish posted moving tributes. In Birmingham, thousands of fans spontaneously gathered to light candles and sing Paranoid, united in mourning. Clearly, Ozzy didn't just belong to Black Sabbath. He belonged to the world. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy will continue to thrive, not just through his iconic music and theatrical stage style, but through the spirit of liberation he embodied. He paved the way for countless musicians to embrace individuality, speak their truth, and challenge the stigma surrounding rock and metal. Few artists in modern music history have touched as many souls across generations as Ozzy. Though his voice has been silenced, his impact remains loud. Sharon and the family are reportedly planning a private funeral ceremony, followed by a larger public tribute concert. Rumors suggest the tribute may take place in 2 significant cities in Ozzy's life, Birmingham and Los Angeles. Artists from a wide array of genres are expected to come together, not only to mourn, but to celebrate the life and legacy of a legend whose music united the misfits, the rebels, and the believers. Since the announcement of Ozzy Osbourne's passing, tributes have poured in not only from the music world, but from film, visual arts, and even spiritual communities inspired by the themes of darkness, inner turmoil, and humanity so present in Ozzy's lyrics. Several prominent directors cited him as a major influence behind their darker introspective narratives. His music often served as a backdrop or emotional blueprint for contemporary art, proving that his influence reached far beyond genre and industry lines. One of the most heartfelt tributes came from his wife, Sharon Osbourne, who posted a black and white photo of a young Ozzy accompanied by a simple but moving caption. "You were, are, and always will be my only Prince of Darkness. See you on the other side." This statement reflects a bond that lasted over 4 decades, a relationship that survived addiction, illness, media storms, and the unpredictable tides of fame. Sharon wasn't just his wife, she was his manager, stage strategist, and shield from the harsh lights of the entertainment industry. Now, she grieves as the widow of a legend, and the world grieves with her. Longtime fans of Ozzy are no strangers to the musician's near mythical survival. In many interviews, he referred to himself as a walking miracle, alluding to years of alcohol, drug use, and brushes with death. One of the most infamous stories, when he bit the head off a bat on stage, remains both shocking and emblematic of his wild, unapologetic energy. These anecdotes, once tabloid headlines, are now canonized pieces of rock history. They remind us that Ozzy wasn't just a performer, he was a force of nature. Many now say that Ozzy's death marks the end of a particular era in rock music, an era of raw honesty, spiritual rebellion, and musicians who weren't just celebrities but voices of the restless and disillusioned. Ozzy didn't just sing about the darkness, he gave it a voice, and in doing so, helped millions find light. He was an anthem for the outsider, a comfort for the anxious, and a mirror for the misunderstood. His music was never just entertainment, it was catharsis. Even those who weren't raised in Black Sabbath's heyday felt the impact of Ozzy's work. Thanks to platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify, his music reached a new generation of listeners. Many young musicians now incorporate elements of gothic rock, metal, and emotional storytelling in their own styles, drawing directly from Ozzy's legacy. In the weeks following his passing, streaming platforms are expected to report a sharp increase in plays of his discography. But more importantly, a new audience will discover the artist who once redefined what it meant to speak your truth through music. Heartfelt tributes also poured in from fellow legends of rock. James Hetfield of Metallica called Ozzy the spiritual father of every modern metal band. Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters shared a clip of a joint performance with the caption, "You made the stage sacred." Even icons like Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney paid their respects, proving that Ozzy's reach transcended genres and generational rivalries. Rock music has lost its beating heart, and the silence left behind is deafening. Ozzy's cultural influence wasn't confined to sound. It shaped fashion and lifestyle. Black t-shirts with skulls, bold eyeliner, oversized crucifix necklaces, these all became symbolic of Ozzy's persona. Music festivals and underground movements alike hailed him not only as an icon, but a spiritual symbol, not in a religious sense, but in the freedom he embodied. His message was clear. Being true to yourself is the greatest rebellion. Now, youth around the world are revisiting the philosophy and authenticity Ozzy carried with pride. The global media offered full-scale coverage. Publications like Rolling Stone, NME, Kerrang, The Guardian, and The New York Times released in-depth obituaries reflecting on Ozzy's impact not just as a musician, but as a cultural figure. Several TV networks have announced upcoming documentaries, one titled The Final Scream, honoring his life and contributions. These documentaries promise not just to chronicle his fame, but to explore the private man behind the chaos, the loving father, the determined survivor, and the soul searcher who never stopped performing, even when his body told him otherwise. Black Sabbath fan communities across the globe have responded with remembrance and celebration. Online forums have become spaces for fans to share personal stories, how change is played at a loved one's farewell, or how Iron Man gave them strength through depression. Some are organizing local tribute concerts, proving that Ozzy's influence lives not just in charts, but in lived experiences. He wasn't just a legend on stage, he was a spiritual companion to countless souls. Today, the world mourns, but it also gives thanks. We are grateful to have lived in the same time as Ozzy Osbourne, a man far from perfect, but entirely human. He showed us that darkness is not an end, but a passage, that redemption is always possible, that raw emotion, when sung out loud, can be healing. He was not a saint, but he was honest, and that honesty became music. It became survival. Though his body may be gone, his voice will echo for generations in our speakers, in our memories, in every note that dares to scream, "I am still here." Farewell, Ozzy. You were the storm, the scream, and the soul of rock. Forever missed, never forgotten.